Hello gamers, it's been a hot minute. My hair is greasy, that's why I'm wearing a hat, and we're getting a hat episode over here. This is Hot Takes for Overwatch. Let's see what you guys have cooked up. It's been a few weeks since I've done this. I've been sick, I've been traveling again. I'm actually back for the rest of the year now. No plans there, here we go. Hot take, high ground that can only be accessed through a movement ability shouldn't exist. For example, on King's Row 3rd, you can just have a hit scan sit on top of one of those high grounds, and if you don't have heroes with verticality, they can just sit there uncontested and it can become really oppressive. That is certainly a hot one to start off. Disagree, that's why hero swaps are available in the game. High ground is a tactical advantage. You can play heroes that have advantages and disadvantages. Maybe your hero is a counter or has a strong ability that counters the enemy ability, or it gives you a high ground counter. Okay, don't actually use that term high ground counter, but it gives you an advantage when you pick a hero that counters an enemy ability, and it gives you an advantage when you pick a hero that can access high ground. You must swap and deal with it in the best way possible. Luckily, there's a big cast of Overwatch characters. I think it's totally fine. I don't think they should suddenly just remove high grounds that can't be accessed by most of the cast. You know what I mean? I think it's cool. Hot take, Sombra does not counter ball. The matchup is closer or even to ball winning. As long as you don't commit a slam when you know Sombra is nearby, you can cancel hack and chaser. There is no reason a Sombra should do much to a ball. With Groggy especially, Cast, Brig, Mayhog are far more oppressive to ball. This is spoken like a ball player, and I trust the ball players. I actually had like Chasm, one of like the top ball players. When I last spoke with him like 5 or 6 years ago, he was actually called Ball Overwatch before he renamed himself. I remember when I did like the tips and stuff with him, tips and tricks, he was also just like, yeah, Sombra's not even that big of a counter. And this was 5 years ago when her hack was way worse, way more annoying, when she was like full perma stealth and actually hacking him out of it. Good balls will actually know how to deal with the Sombra. Most balls will die when they slam in, get hacked, while 5 of the enemy team players collapse on them. Maybe not 5, maybe 3. In a strict 1v1, she actually doesn't counter you as much as you think. You have way too much HP for her to effectively remove by herself, even if she hacks you briefly for like 1.5 seconds. Then you can move again, and you can shoot her, you can even interrupt it with your gun. All in all, I agree. Actually, not a hot take for this one. Next hot take is Atlas is a great map. People just haven't given it enough plays or learn how to play it. That's true. There's actually more areas for players to approach you, and the map is tighter, so you literally have to learn to be aware and constantly reposition yourself. It takes more focus than linear payload maps. I can see your perspective on that. I don't think this is a hot take. I think Atlas isn't one of the quote-unquote hated Flashpoint maps. Are there even any Flashpoint maps that people hate? There's only 3 of them. Most of them seem pretty fair to me. If people don't like, it's less about people disliking the map itself. It's just more some people don't like the game mode overall because of the fast-paced nature of it, I suppose. But Atlas itself, it seems to have like that modern map design with like really open areas, but also mixed in with good line of sight coverage, and they've thought about careful angles and things like that. So agree with this one, not a hot take. Next one, on the topic of Orisa being boring, I think she got worse after the rework. I've played both versions a lot, and I genuinely have more fun on the older version, or even just new Orisa with the shield perk. The ability to shut down everything just doesn't feel fun, and to have the shield instead of the javelin spin feels both more useful and like I have to put more thought into it. There are a lot more characters that can burst the shield that then can shoot through a spin. I do agree that the ult and javelin throw feel healthier, but the stun from the javelin is less than fun. Whole, it is satisfying to hit. It feels too rewarding, especially considering how easy it is to land. Anyways, yeah, I think the old version was more fun overall, but the context of double shield just ruining people's perception of the character. This is more of a subjective take, but I disagree. I think Orisa she's actually just so fundamentally different. She went from just a stand behind the shield and just chill and look for pull plays to like an actual brawler, like an actual go up and scrap with people, because her gun is way faster in Overwatch 2 with her projectiles being like balls, but in Overwatch 1 they were like rectangular French fries, like green fries being fired down. The only part I disagree with this is that you said that having the shield instead of the javelin feels more useful and you have to put more thought into the shield. I feel like you have to put less thought into the shield. Put the shield down, you're done. But the spear, you have to think about, or sorry, the spin, you have to think about which projectiles to eat. Maybe you can use it to engage. I feel like there's more agency with the spin overall, and I think the modern version of Orisa is healthier for the game. And I actually would say more people enjoy this version of Orisa than the old one. Maybe you're just an old Orisa head, but I will say the new Orisa in Overwatch 2 brought non-tank players to actually feel okay playing Orisa. I don't mind playing Orisa occasionally as someone who I freaking hated Overwatch Overwatch 1 Orisa, because she was just put the shield down. It was so boring for me. But Overwatch 2 was a lot more fun for me. Not to say I love her, but way more engaging. And I think this one's more fun and healthier in my perspective. Your perspective is the old one was better for you, and I don't think this one's really a hot or cold take. This one's just really like a very generic, subjective opinion that could go either way. Next, hot take. Changing hero perks just for the sake of change isn't a good idea. While it was a great selling point for Season 18 to be able to say every hero gets new perks, some heroes really didn't need perk changes and ended up with worse or less interesting perks just to meet that every hero is getting a new perk requirement. The two that jump to my mind immediately are Bastion and Lifeweaver. Bastion loses his really fun Smart Bomb perk that made him feel more dynamic and active in exchange for his new perk, which, while strong, largely just encourages spamming grenades, which can be fun but feels much more mindless and doesn't change his playstyle as much. Lifeweaver, on the other hand, has lost a solid survivability perk in exchange for a worse version of an already bad major perk. And his new major perk is also underwhelming, since you're not likely going for Thorn Volley damage while sitting on pedal, so the increased attack speed is more for heal botting, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the take is changing heroes for the sake isn't a good idea. I somewhat agree with this, but I do think over time, refreshing the perks is a good idea. But it's been about 6 months, and that was their quote. I guess that was their time to shift everything over. And I feel like if you do exactly what they did here, where every hero gets a new perk, it can kind of throw balance into a disarray, because it took a few months for them to get some of the older perks right. Obviously, some of the heroes really needed it, but you're right, though. Some heroes definitely didn't need a change, and they could have existed perfectly without any perk changes. But changing the cast members that did need it was probably a better priority instead of doing everything. So honestly, the more I think about it, you're right. Not a hot take. I think just meeting that quota probably made things more harmful than better. I know their idea was to keep things fresh, but how fresh does it feel right now with all these new perks? It feels like a whole new ball game right now. I have to relearn all these new major and minor perks, and it feels a little overwhelming when every single hero gets a big refresh at the same time. You know, I think we can save the big refresh for like the seasonal model, where they said every year they want to do a big refresh. Change them all up then, but maybe at the, the 6 month mark or the 3 month mark in between 1 or 2 seasons, a couple of the ones that are higher priority, and then we're good. So let's slow down the tempo with there, and we'll go. Hot take, Tracer is extremely underbanned in high ranks. There are people who have played her for nearly a decade, and a good one can feel nearly impossible to counter. Dude, I perma-pick Tracer to get banned all the time. I'm a Tracist, a certified Tracist. I say this in every video. I said it in the last video. Tracists in the chat, rise up. Or in the comments, if you will. Rise up. Let's be Tracists together. Ban Tracer, thank you. We looked at the win rates of all the ranks and all the regions on both platforms, and Tracer is a top performer on all of them. She's slippery. She's the only hero that can take these crazy angles and challenge anybody 1v1, maybe apart from some tanks and whatnot. Some of them are skill matches, but she's so good at what she does, and she's so unique and so slippery. Unbelievable. She needs to be banned more. Agreed, not a hot take. Next hot take. I understand why 6v6 cannot have role queue, but I genuinely wish a 6v6 role queue was at least in arcade. I love playing tank, but I get so much anxiety doing it alone in 5v5 and 6v6 when you don't get a second tank. And it's even worse because all you have is one person able to focus you. You get 2 tanks in comp, and I'm very happy about that, but I would still like a casual place to guarantee another tank. While I understand your concern, unfortunately, a role queue in arcade, you are going to be waiting forever for matches, my friend. Although in arcade, if you did that, maybe the MMR would be spread out quite a bit, because like it's not a rank system, so maybe you'll just get random skill ratings in each. But there is a hidden MMR, a hidden skill rating for quick play competitive and arcade as a separate card. That was confirmed in some, I don't even know where they said this before, but it's true. There's a different MMR for arcade, quick play, and competitive. So you don't just play noobs, right? If you're a brand new player, it'd feel terrible if you played against someone who played for 5 years, right? There is a little bit of SSBM. In any case, role queue in arcade, long ass queue times, especially if there's SSBM, because you got to find people around the same skill rating, and arcade is not even that popular of a queue. And to that one specifically, like there's so many game modes available. You got stadium, quick play, competitive. You got quick play 5v5, quick play 6v6, quick play mystery heroes. You got competitive. You got all these different arcade cards. You got these temporary challenge modes like this Mirror Watch and Anniversary. April Fool's is out right now. Like your arcade 6v6 is going to be such a low priority. 20-minute queues. minimum, and that's probably gonna hold you back. All right, hot take. It is good that your main is not getting skins. $20 is too much for a skin in a video game, and that money would be better spent anywhere else. You could buy an indie game or an older AAA game on sale for that price. What happened to the Overwatch community that was mad about overpriced skins? Now we are begging Blizzard to let us give them our money. I know the battle to get Blizzard to drop the prices has been a joke since the LeSeraphim collab, but at this point, Blizzard could raise the prices of skins and people would still buy them. I'm not saying that it's a good thing that a few heroes get all the skins, but I'm saying we have lost the plot. The fact that this is the most complained part of the game in the recent months is a testament to how good the game is right now. But the Overwatch community always needs to complain about something, I guess. You're telling me it's good, your main isn't getting a skin, so as long as your main is not KarQ, Mercy, or the ones that get all the skins, right? Because your $20 could be better spent elsewhere. Wow, thank you for looking out for people. I've always subscribed to the fact that I'm not going to tell people how to spend their money, because that's your money, you earned it. You spend it however you want. That's none of my business personally. So like, I will never be here and be like, don't go buy your money and spend it here instead. You know, you do what you want. You want to buy your $20 beers when you go out on a Friday night. You want to buy 2 packs of cigarettes. Like money could be spent better elsewhere. I could tell my uncle, hey, that $20 for cigarettes not good for you. You could do it, and then he'll just get annoyed at me. And then it feels like a lot of people just get annoyed at the whole pricing thing. While I agree, I'm for the consumers at the same time. Like I don't want people to be spending like, I don't want people to have to pay exuberant prices to wear some, you know, digital pixels. But at the end of the day, this is art, right? For a game that they play. And if you want to wear a nice skin on a thing, this just seems to be the standard pricing. And that is what it is. Like people can vote for the wall. If you can somehow get the whole community collective to like really rally and lower some obscene prices, sure. But I think in 2025, $20 seems to be the norm. And it really just depends where you live too. So I live in Canada, US. I feel like these are probably pretty standard prices, but it totally sucks because there's not regional pricing. And I guess the reason they do that is obviously because, you know, money, and they're not going to make as much and people might find a loophole, blah, 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 blah. I remember there was one where like there was a truly obscene one. I don't know. To me, $20 doesn't feel like a lot for a skin at this point, but I remember there was that League of Legends bundle with Faker or something, or Ari, and it was like $300, $400 for a skin bundle. $300. Okay, now we're not even in the same ballpark. We're in a different country at this point, okay? Not even the same ballpark. Different planet, excuse me. I don't know. I've lost the plot maybe, but that's all I'm saying. My counter take to your take is it should be, you should just have a nice skin for each hero and just buy it if you want. Hot take, when playing comp, your teammates have the right to know basic information about your profile. Basic information such as your rank and your top 3 heroes that you play, not necessarily showing the hours you spent on them. Whenever I play comp with higher ranked players, I drop my ego and let them pick first. People don't necessarily need to take that approach, but completely having the option to make everything in your private profile private just pampers to the weak-minded, easily offended players. People are going to be assholes regardless. If you have a problem with that, just mute chat. Right now, luckily they do that now with the progression thing. If you hover over, it does show their top 3 played. Unfortunately, it's top 3 overall and not based on their role, which is some feedback I would like to give to Blizzard. Let's say I queue in right now and mine, you know, my top 3 is right now like Ana, Baptiste, KarQ. But I happen to be queuing tank right now. That's not very helpful. I think we should be allowed to, if you have a private profile, be allowed to pin 3 of your preferred heroes in the role in order of priority. And that should be enough. Hot take, Stadium needs less auto aim abilities. I'm gonna stop you right there. Yes. I feel like in every game, there's a soldier rolling his head on the keyboard, killing you across the map because his primary auto aims, even his rockets. Guys, Tracer even has that one right now. The new Tracer has that like auto aiming thing after a blink, and that has just been really annoying to play against. I think we could just get rid of those 2. Thank you. I'm not gonna read the rest. Yes, good take, not a hot take. Ooh, nice hot take here. This update made the progression system worse. The previous system was sluggish and the rewards were essentially non-existent, but reducing the measurements down to exclusively time played just feels boring and unengaging. I just wish they would just keep elements from the previous iteration and just mess with the thresholds to earn hero XP to make the system feel more exciting. And the rewards would feel like rewards and not just participation trophies. So this was the old system. Your border in Overwatch 1 was strictly just time played. But I feel like because we advanced it, it's like we took one step forward, but with the kind of like with some issues on it, and then took a step back. But then we saw what some possible solutions were with, like, you know, doing extra healing on and getting extra headshots and extra charge kills on Reinhardt, and getting certain like stats, like all those things that they did add, we can still kind of like evolve it with the old time played system and mix it together. So I think this progression system isn't inherently worse in the sense that it's got the right idea, trying to go back to the whole border thing like Overwatch 1, but you can totally take elements of what they have sort of worked on and mix it together and make something even better. All right, last one. Hot take, stadium draft with no mirrors was actually well thought out and should have stayed in the game. Yes, it was buggy, which should have been fixed. Oh, that's when you could get like 2 of the same heroes or whatever, right? On the same team or both teams. But the concept and design was actually great. Asking to trade spots with teammates was cool and gave more strategy towards hero choice. I had a good time, win or lose, and played many interesting games. The Overwatch community seems to freak out anytime they can't play their desired heroes. And most players need to grow up and learn how to play more heroes and stop attacking Blizzard or Overwatch devs. The toxicity and hate online was very cringe. I agree with you because I'm in the same boat. I'm a competitive tactical player, and I think there is like strategy and tactics to specifically trading and figuring out what they're playing, then what I'm playing, then what you're playing. But at the end of the day, they always say at the end of their blogs that let's make a great game, and they want to make the game that you want to play. And if the overwhelming loud majority did not like mirror, they're going to do what the majority wants now, and they're going to be quick with it. And that's like the new Overwatch 2 devs. They're like, oh, you don't like it? We're going to not like be hesitant anymore. We're just going to quickly get rid of it because they don't want like a whole stalling out with goats and whatnot again. They want to be very snappy with it. That being said, as much as I enjoy draft with no mirrors as well, I'm actually fine with the current system with mirrors as well. I think Stadium is already complex enough that that extra layer of tactics isn't necessary because this is a casual competitive mode. Maybe there's more discussion to be had if this was like the true competitive mode with no mirrors, with bans and everything. But for Stadium, it's already not like the most popular mode. The main mode is definitely played more, like quick play, ranked, etc., etc. So if people are loud and not happy with it, they made their choice. But I do agree with you. I do think draft with no mirrors was well thought out. That's it for the hot takes this week. Submit some more in the comments and I'll see you guys next time.